So today we're going to talk a little bit about alt farming. The first thing you want to do is you just saw make sure your account's bound, and then you'll go into settings and go to start new. Once you've done that, you'll load into a new kingdom. Basically, you saw there I'm on Kingdom 388. Occasionally I have a bunch of new notifications to go through. That's downside to this process, is you just have to go through everything you already know with the Tyrion and areas and all that. I use Notepad to kind of save invite codes. It used to be 50, I'm not sure if it still is or not, but I just save, every time I make a new alt, I just save the invite code once I reach the new kingdom, or the current kingdom, 335. So that's what I do right here. I'm using an old alt code to create a new alt on our kingdom. See there, I'm on Kingdom 335 now. So the very first thing I typically do is, because I have that process, I'll go back into settings and then go to invite friends, get the invite code, and I'll come back and I'll put it in my notepad. So now the fun begins. It can be a long process, particularly if you're new to it. You'll get faster as you go. The first thing you want to do is build your tavern, because right there you just saw I got 36 5-minute speed up boosts just from building the tavern. So then you're going to go through, and the easiest way to do it is just kind of follow the Tyrion reward system. You'll see I get to a process where each upgrade level, I go and I start and I upgrade my farm, upgrade the lumber camp, upgrade the war camp, and then that allows you to go through and upgrade all your other buildings. The key here is to reach keep level 5, because then you get an advanced teleport. The other thing is, once you reach keep 2, as you just saw I did, I'll wait for Peter Baelish to pop up, because it's going to be another 200 gold to join an alliance or allegiance. It doesn't really matter who you join. I can't even remember who I just joined, but it really won't matter. You kind of have to wait for the rewards to subside, just so you can get that message again, and then you'll go in and you'll see I get the 200 gold reward. So the key here is to combine alt farming along with the berries event, because during the event, the building, the researching, and the troop training, it allows you to get gold as rewards, and you'll see here I get a substantial amount to be able to go into the store and buy wood. So that's basically all we're doing. Like I said, it's a tedious process, but it can be rewarding. And if you're a low spending player, or even free to play player, this really allows you to farm RSS without, the easiest way possible, really. So you can go through this process without collecting the Tyrion rewards, because you have the 36 5-minute speed up boost. But I also find it easier just to do it as I go, and also make sure I don't miss anything. So like building the port and trying to collect the port 3 times while I'm doing the process. It usually can take me about 15 to 20 minutes to make an alt to farm it. And the other thing is, keep this in mind before you create the new character. You'll want to remember where your old character is, your main character. In this case, I forgot to write down the coordinates in my notepad, so I didn't go straight to it, but I knew kind of close to where I was at, and I just had to find it on the map. So like I said, it can be a little bit of a slow process. I'm probably not going to talk through the whole thing, but once again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to myself or the Greater Council. But it's a nice way to get at least usually about 4.5 million of a resource. Typically, what I will do is go with the lumber, just so I can continue to build. You can do food too, but the other thing you have to keep in mind is, if you're going to do food before you create another alt to continue farming, it's a good idea to use up your food, obviously, with the upkeep. So if you're doing like food for building, and that's what you're trying to farm the alt for, you want to, you can do expeditions, for example, to kind of save your wood or and box it. The other option is just do your best to use it as you go. Typically, I only do the alt farming for wood. It would be nice if you could do it for stone as well, but wood's pretty much the main resource. You will, even if you're doing mainly wood, you'll see that you still get some food RSS. I think I finished this with about 1 million food on my main account after doing this, and I only had about 200k when I started. So it allowed me to do one troop train as well. So it's just kind of the way I do it. Food is probably the hardest RSS to get for building upgrades. If you were going, say, for a keep upgrade and you know you needed like 60 million food to get there, you could just continue to all farm for food, but just keep in mind your upkeep is going to tick while you're doing the process. The other thing you'll see me do is I do collect the house rewards, and I use the house prestige that you're given, mainly because that also gives you some small increase or boost. I haven't looked to see how much RSS it actually does add to it, but before I'm done finishing the alt, I try and collect every little bit of RSS I can. And probably the slowest tedious process is actually the troop train part of it. With the maester training, you'll see in a little bit, like the construction one, you're going to get done, knocked out really easily. The maester, you have to do each available tree that has the less than 5 minutes. You have to do those once, and you go back in and you do 2 of them at about 20 minutes. But you just speed everything up. And that's how you get to the top of the completed board for the Maester event portion. The troop chain, you just typically want to do range because it's a little bit easier on the RSS. So you just continually build archers, as you'll see. But that can be probably the most tedious process of it. When it comes to building the archers, you don't have to get all the way to the completed section of the troop train event. You're really just getting for the 15 tier. So right here, you'll see I started the maester part of it. I like doing the military, like I said, you have to do 2 of the 20 minutes. So I just knock out the military tree, the 2 in the military tree. It's just easier that way because there's only 2. Economy, there's only 1 period. So the biggest thing is you're just trying to get gold, essentially. And like I said, the Daenerys popping up with the messages and Tyrion popping up with the messages is probably the most tedious part, because a lot of times there's no way just to speed up that process. Okay, now we finished the Maester tree. They'll start to collect the rewards from the Maester portion of it. And another thing you want to do is sometimes, I don't know if you guys notice this, but during the events, they can glitch where you don't collect the event rewards as you go. So another thing you want to make sure you'll see me do later is I go through all the Tyrion event rewards just to make sure all of them have been collected before I switch back to my main account. I haven't built, as you saw, I just built a trap as well. I collected the trap reward. The reason I do that is just so, once again, I get every RSS that I can from every possible thing. So right here, we're starting the troop train portion of it. And like I said, this is probably the longest portion of it. I think you usually have to get about 800 archers. So I mean, as you can see, we're already almost at, we're over 700,000 food and wood, and we haven't even really bought anything yet. So I mean, for 15 to 20 minutes of your time, and like I said, you'll get faster as you do it more. Probably the scariest part is, you're leaving your main account and then you're going to an alt account. But as long as you're bound, Game Center, Facebook, you'll see that I'm able to get right back into Instigator. I mean, I can even log into my old account even though it wouldn't do me anything, because I have Instigator bound to Facebook and I have my old account bound to Game Center. So we're almost done. We're at getting close to 700 troops. As you see, we're on the 13 tier of the rewards for the troop chain. 15 is all you have to get to. Still going. Maybe it was 900, excuse me, not 800, 900. Sometimes you're just doing it and you don't even realize you're doing it, you're just waiting to hear that, the 15. So, also go in and make sure you get your daily rewards done, because if you get to that tier 2, it's also RSS. And you'll see right here, you go ahead and use the house prestige. I don't think it gave me a level, which kind of stunk, but oh well. So right here, I'm checking to make sure I've gotten all the rewards from each of the 3 events. So I can go ahead and cash out. One more tiering event I can collect. So now you'll see I go in the store, and I can use the gold that I've earned from the events to buy wood boxes, essentially. I know it was kind of nice last time this tiering event reward was going on, because WB had also just given us like an extra 200 or 300 gold reward for that Twitter message that they had. So it also allowed me to buy one more, which was kind of nice. So once you've collected all the wood and you've used it, as you see, I'm up to, well, you'll see in a minute. This is me looking for my keeps. Like I said, make sure you know exactly where your keep is. I knew it was south of Red Lake somewhere. Bam, there I am. I can use the teleport. The other thing to keep in mind is you have to get rid of your shield. If you can unshield on your main account and you feel comfortable doing it for 20 minutes, you can do that. Otherwise, you can also just put an alt. Like, there's another alt I have right there that I just used to scout, so I didn't have to unbubble myself. And then we log back into our main account. As you can see, it's 4.3 million wood and 764,000 food. So we go back into the main account. You just go to switch account, and whichever one you have your main account bound to. And here we are. Like I said, I had 200,000 food. You'll see I get to a million, which allowed me to speed up and train some more tier 8 cavalry. You can scout it, or you can start attacking. I don't know why I scouted. I could have just started attacking, but it didn't really matter. One thing you'll see here at my pawn is the default pawn. I usually use the Martel. When you switch accounts like this, there's 2 things that happen. Your pawn gets reset, and occasionally you also get Daenerys popping up. Some of the beginning messages, and you see all these notifications pop up. When you switch accounts like that, that's the one other downside, especially if you're like me and you hate notifications. So you can just kind of go back in. You have to mark it all as red to get rid of all the notifications, which kind of stinks, but like I said, free food, right? And free wood. So then you can start farming it. Typically I'll try and check in on the messages to make sure I don't waste any, like I said, RSS, because you don't want to continue to attack it when it's not giving you anything else. And I think we're almost done with it. And I also farm my other alts. That's probably how I got close to 1 million food, because I had both alts sitting right there. And that's pretty much it. So I farmed up to 4.6 million wood. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to myself or any of the leadership team. Thanks. Have a good one.